What is good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here. Before we get into the video, I want you guys to know I made this video, then the ban list did drop, so Elpy lives. So just so you guys know, disregard the entire front part of it where I'm like, oh, waiting for a ban list, Elpy lives. So now we can still do Guard Dragon plays and go pluses and all that stuff, so that's great. But anyway, guys, here's the profile for you. Enjoy. What is good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with an updated Crusadia deck profile. This is just in case if Elpy gets banned, since we're sitting here waiting on a ban list. And I know some people have wanted to see a different route to take that doesn't include Elpy, but more importantly, guys, I know what you guys are thinking. If you guys have not been paying attention to my live streams or anything like that, I revealed the first ever fully, fan, I don't even know how to describe it, Crusadia playmat. This playmat is called the Breeze before Einstaz, and I made a sweet commercial kind of introducing it, so we'll go ahead and check that out right now. So yes, guys, link in the description down below. Get your playmat today. This right here is just a huge push for me as a channel. I've been trying for almost 2 years to get you guys a playmat, and finally, I was able to. So there's only gonna be a limited quantity of them to start out with. Get them while supplies last. So yes, this is the Breeze before Einstaz. It's Equimax here, holding Ib's ribbon right before they go off to fight the Orcus, which of course is the artwork is depicted on Orcus Einstaz. And in the background, we have the stars of World Legacy continuation, kind of foreshadowing there. And also, huge shout out to Midnight Dreams. Link will be in the description down below. He is the artist that drew this map for me. And if you guys don't know, he's a prominent artist within the YuGiOh community. He was awesome to work with, and I will go to him through all my mats from now on. So, yeah, so link down in the description below. Hurry down there and get your Breeze before Einstaz Crusadia playmat today while quantities last. But let's get into the real reason why we're here. And that's going to be this deck profile. So, for those who don't know, Elpy can potentially get hit. And if it does, what's the plan? Well, there's actually tons of things that me and the boys in the Discord have been working at. And if you guys want to become part of that Discord and hit the labs with us, hit the battlefield, the Vanguard, the whatever would be a crusading term for that, hit the front lines with me. Hit that join button down below and support the channel. Everything that you guys put into the channel gets put right back into it. And each day we're getting closer to me doing this full time. So thank you guys. But if you guys can't join the channel, just like and subscribe at the end of the video if you liked it. But let's go ahead and jump into this right here. So this is a Rokket list. So we're still playing, get down here. We're still playing 3 Maximus. You really, in my opinion, Maximus is the most important. You kind of have to play the 3. You have to play 3 of almost every Crusadia. You can have a little bit of flex space with Leonis, but 3 Maximus, 3 Arborea. She's super important because she's a tuner. And no, we aren't playing any Hulk shenanigans if Elpy gets banned. I refuse to resort to that level yet. But 3 Arborea, she's really good for the protection. So if you guys missed it, I did an entire live stream where I did 20 or 30, I don't even know how many test hands. If someone can tell me how many test hands I did that was through the high live stream, let me know in the comments down below. But I did tons of test hands, and we only bricked 3 times out of 20 plus test hands. And every hand we were able to end on 3 interruptions, which is what I wanted the deck to do. And it's just really awesome. Arborea just having the ability to protect your Crusadius is actually really important. It allows for the grind game and kind of allows us to play through those strong pushes your opponent does. So when they attempt to put the tempo into their control, you practically save your tempo by Arborea, and you're right back in the swing of things. It's definitely Arborea just technically allows for that second cavalry charge to one-punch your opponent for sure. So 3 Draco. Draco's really important. He's not as important if Elpy gets banned, but he still is level 4 dragon that allows us to make the Striker Dragon, which of course is really important. It's just the Striker Dragon is just free real estate in this Rokket variant, so do keep that in mind. 3 Reclusia. Reclusia will always stay here at 3. It's just a really good card. I mean, let's be honest, it's good going first, it's good going second. The reason it's good going first is because it's a Crusadia by name, but it's really good for going second in that turn 3 because you can special it down and then pop cards, which allow it to force negations or to practically prong or poke at an opponent's board. A lot of times, when I've been Dark Ruler no more, and they can't break my board, I leave the boy Equalmax here is up, and then I top deck into this, and I have the ability to special regular Reclusia and start poking at their board that they've established, and just kind of swing the tempo into my control. For For sure, dude, remember, guys, this is an interesting, I don't think a lot of people, interesting interaction, I don't think people know this, but if you special summon Crusadia Reclusia to his own Echo Max points to, use Reclusia's effect to target itself and target a card, and they try to do something to this card, to stop this, you can then chain the Echo Max to tribute this for cost and negate. So it's almost like it's like a 2-for-1 sort of thing. It's just really good. And finally, to Leonis, we are not playing Form of Skipper in this build, so I really kind of want to up this back, but space is just so tight, and you have a lot more powerful cards, so I think that it's just the L that we're going to have to take. Right now with Gamma and Ogre in the format, we want to play Crusadias that cannot get Ogred or Ashed on summon, so then we can play the game, sort of. So Leonis is at 2. I do kind of want to bump it up to 3, but like I said, space is just kind of tight at the moment. So, yeah. Other than that, if you guys don't know or haven't noticed, these are all German. Let me get these back sorted here. These are all German Crusadias. Huge shout out to my man Flexi. He sent these to me, and they just look remarkable. So huge shout out to him. Moving on, we have 3 Parallel Exceed. So we're still playing this and not playing Skipper because Skipper gets you this, but this right here just needs to be in here to combat the rock. And essentially, like, if you normal summon Skipper and use its effect, and you get Ogre or Gamma, you kind of you lose. So Parallel Exceed is just really good because if you open Parallel Exceed plus like any Crusadia, that's still like full combo, and that's still just super powerful. It's just super good early game, late game, you name it. I've even caught myself sometimes holding this till I get rocked and then special summoning this on the Link Spider and then just kind of establishing boards that way. It just allows you to make a free rank 4 essentially, and if you go first and you if it's in your opening hand, you just make Trap Tricks or Flasia. If you happen to hold it or draw into it later, like off a Chaos Space, because we're no longer can draw with YuGiOh currently in this build at the moment, there is another build out there that plays Code Talkers, and it actually, like, it introduces 3 more bricks to the deck, and you can still combo the same way you did before, essentially. And a huge shout out to my man in the comment section that actually pointed me towards that. We've actually, me and my Crusader members have been plowing through into this, trying to figure out a way to make it consistent, but hopefully I'll bring a profile to that to you guys here shortly as well. And also, actually, hopefully Elpy doesn't get banned, and we just don't have to worry about this. But if you want to play like a combo going first variant of Crusadia and don't want to play Elpy, this is kind of the one for you. Because this is Crusadia, this is not like Dragon Link, this is Crusadia with a Rokket or Dragon Link engine, so Parallel Exceed is just super good. Like, you really have to play it. I honestly, like, it just allows you to establish Reflasia on your 5th summon, so then you can't be rocked or hand trapped. It allows you to make Abyss Dweller, which just shuts down everything. It's just really good. And since we can no longer get to the Sea Turtle or anything like that anymore, because, you know, if you lose Elpy, you essentially lose the Skull Dread, we got to put up as many interruptions as we can in our opening hand and just try to push for as many interruptions as we can. So for the next 2 cards, we have 1 White Dragon, 1 Black Dragon. These guys are still busted. We're still playing Chaos Space just to get to these cards. I mean, guys, these are limited for a reason. They're just that good, and Chaos Space just practically allows it to be pluses out of the kazoo. We no longer are playing Valkyrie because of space. We had to cut down the Valkyrie, but that's okay because, like, the cards that we get, we still get to use. For the Rokket engine, we're playing this lineup right here. I really want to move to 3 Tracer and then play like 1 Magna and 1 Silver, or 2 Magna. It doesn't really matter. These 2 just have to be anything that you want. But slowly, so I say I want to do that, but then at the same time, this ratio has been working very well. This 4 ratio has been working extremely well. It's just you really want to see Tracer in your hand so that you can summon off a boot up sector launch, but you also want to have quick launch to be live at all times. And I thought about maybe playing 3 Tracer and 1 of these guys, but if you happen to open Tracer, I mean, actually that would probably work. Right here, live on video, Charles has an epiphany and realizes that actually might work. So you could do like any assortment. I just believe you need to play 3 Tracer, and if you have the space, you can play 5. But I think 4 is a correct ratio to play. And just in my opinion, I've not really. Rokket Tracer is just the best, so like you would want to see it over. And I guess in theory, you could say that the Silver Rokket Dragon is the 3rd Rokket and do it this route. I haven't had a lot of instances come up to where I open like quick launch, and like your quick launch is always going to be live because the amount of rockets you play, unless you happen to open all rockets, and then in which case you just try to Dragon Link and go. But that is something that's very interesting to point. If you do happen to open a handful of all rockets and no Crusadia, you very well can just, you know, normal summon, make Striker Dragon, and then essentially you get access to Magius through making Equimax. But, you know, that's worst case scenario, and at that point I think you should just try to shoot for a Savage and hope for the best. But yeah, that's it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells, we're still playing Crusadia Power here, or Crusadia Starkey in German. This card right here is just, in my opinion, better than Call by the Grave, because right now, especially right now, your Crusadia plays are really, really important. And this right here just answers all of them. It answers every sort of interaction that exists in the game is answered, whereas Call by the Grave falls short with Nibiru, Gamma, Infinite Impermanence, all that type of thing. This card just answers it. Now when you like lean into your combo, like you go the direction of dragon linking and stuff like that, like, yeah, you know, like you can't Crusadia power like your Striker Dragon, you can't Crusadia power your Borderlord Savage, but you can essentially Crusadia power your Crusadia monsters, which is like the gas that keeps you going, which is, you know, super important. And then we still playing 3 Chaos Space. Chaos Space is just super good, guys. I really like in the deck with the Code Talkers, like I've noticed like we've had to cut this thing, and I'm going to try my best to fit this in because Chaos Space is that good. It just allows you to pitch cards. You can pitch now any of your Tracer, your black, you know, your Rokket dragons, and get the white dragon. Of course, you can pitch you have the searchable Maximus, which you can pitch with it to get the black dragon. And then if you happen to open one or the other, you always will get, like, it's no hindrance if you open white dragon plus Chaos Space. Like, it's that good. And it gives us a draw, it gives us consistency. It actually, and then on top of that, it gives us access to the baby dragons, which is really important because they are the power cards. So essentially with these 3 cards right here, you play a total of 4 of each of the white or black dragon, which is a lot better than when it was sitting there both at once. So for sure, it's really good. Like, this has been like one of the best engines that I've been pointed towards in a long time. So huge shout out to the commenter. You know who you are. I'm sorry, I'm not good with names, so you know who you are. Thank you for pointing me towards this. I do almost feel like this should be a staple in the deck now, and I say that because just how good it is. It gives us a draw, it gives us searchability, it gives us access to our powerful, like I said, the black and white dragon. So for sure, do consider playing this card in your Crusadia decks for sure. Even if you're playing going second, like this is perfect Ash bait. 3 Quick Launch. So Quick Launch is now in here again because Quick Launch grabs out any of your rockets. It's just that good, and it's not once per turn, so you can bait a bad player by shotgunning this, then mashing it, then shotgunning another one. But of course, you wouldn't shotgun the other one. You just shotgun the first one to bait the Ash, and do your typical Crusadia plays. This is just again, so like this is another 1, 2. So you technically play seven Rokket dragons because you have access to get to them in 7 ways. And Tracer is just really good at popping stuff, and Tracer is practically a Borderlord Savage, or another tech card I was thinking about playing was a Evil Swarm Nightmare, because, you know, you can pop it and you can only special summon dark monsters, and Evil Swarm Nightmare is a dark monster, and you overlay, and then you have a Book of Moon Floodgate thing. So I've been thinking about it, but haven't got around to it yet. Space is really tight in the extra deck, and if we happen to go the Codebreaker, the Codebreaker route, Space gets horribly tight. For the Holy Trinity of Monster Reborn spells, we still are playing these. This card, again, has never left my deck just because of how good it is. And now, especially with the Rokket Dragons, it's really good. I mean, there's a reason Dragon League plays 3 of these. So now with comboing that off with the Tracer, you just bring something back, pop it. There you go. Monster Reborn is Monster Reborn. This is probably the more cuttable one out of the entire engine. And I really hate to say that because this Reborn has stuck with me since it's come off the ban list. But the reason I say that is because these 2 are searchable via Crawler, and Monster Reborn is not. So the reason you play this is just because it's an extra Reborn that's not a hard once per turn. So if push came to shove and you had to cut down engines, you could probably cut down the Monster Reborn and just play the Succession, the Guard Dragon. But hopefully it won't come to that. But in case it does, that's just my opinion. 1 Boot Up Sector Launch. Boot Up Sector Launch is amazing. It's just free real estate, guys. Like, this card just special summons out Rockets. It's free discard fodder for your IP into Unicorn. It's free pop fodder for Tracer. It's just, and then if it happens to stick around, the ability to special summon Rockets from your graveyard up to the difference is still pretty good. So it's searchable. It's searchable. It's probably, I'd say it's probably one of the bricks in the deck, to be honest with you. Because if you guys have noticed, like, we're not really playing as many bricks because, like, even all the Rokket monsters in your hand is not a brick because as long as you get access to Sector Launch, they become extenders. So this is probably like the 1 brick in the deck, I'd say. 2 of the bricks in the deck. 1 Rhoda. This right here is just your 4th copy of Arborea. You want to get to your Crusades and start it. So Droll and Blockbird was around a few formats ago, and that's why I cut this card because I didn't feel like losing to Droll. So now that Droll is no longer prevalent, Reinforcing Army is great. And now finally we have the 3 Infinite Permanents. I do believe you need to try your best. You could go back to playing all gas, but I really don't recommend it. You need to try your best to play a hand trap that's high impact, and Infinite Permanents is a solid option. If you cannot afford Infinite Permanents, Forbidden Chalice is another option. And the reason I recommend that over like Effect Failure is because those cards can be called by the grave. You want your card to not be called by the grave. So Infinite Permanents is just super powerful. and effect veiler you can't you have to activate on your opponent's turn. But this right here could be essentially your choice of any 3 hand traps. But I think it needs to be Impermanence or Chalice. Just my opinion. For the final 2 bricks of the deck, so it's Boot Up Sector and these 2. Trap Hole is just engine requirement, so you can stop the rock under 5 summons, or you can end on Rafflesia with Interruption, and Crusadia Crawler just to get that negate with Equimax. So, and it also searches out Succession or Guard Dragon for that follow-up. So, yeah, this guy did not pop up in any of the test hands, actually. It was really, really, really good. I'm moving on to the extra deck. The extra deck is still kind of the same. We still are opting to play the same Crusadia lineup. So yeah, let's move this up a little bit here. Still opting to play the same Crusadia lineup. This Spatha is not as good, and actually I had a lot of people saying like they probably would cut Spatha for Hieratic Seal, but I cannot bring myself to cut the Bay just because she's really good in the sense that she moves things and that allows us to facilitate easier OTKs. But in maybe the competitive retrospect, when things pick up a little bit more and we get back to competitive play, Hieratic Spears would be a prominent choice too. But for the most part, this is the same engine. Equimax, you know, he's the man on the mat. He's like the thing you're shooting in for. Avermax is just a good turn 3 or a good backup to fall to in case like your plays get disrupted and you can't get to like anything more than an Equimax. So, yeah, so still the same Crusadia lineup. Moving on, we still play the 1 Link Spider, 1 Link Rebo, and then new addition to the deck is Striker Dragon. So Link Spider is just here to flex when you get rocked. Link Rebo is in case like all you do is open Paralytic Seed and Crusadia, you can turn it into Link Rebo and make and just trigger things off that way. It also is just a good thing to proc out on like the turn 3 or even turn 1. You make this, your opponent has to solve this, otherwise like you have the ability to stop their traps, which is really good. And then Striker Dragon is just amazing. It gets you Boot Up Sector launch, which is free real estate. So, and it does not restrict you to darks, unlike Elpy, which restricted you to dragons. So do keep that in mind. It also has a niched effect where you could pop something. So like you could pop an extra Crusade or pop one of the Chaos Dragons to add back a Rokket Tracer that you quick launched out, so you get the full maximum value of your Boot Up Sector launch. My IP Masquerena and Unicorn. So IP is definitely in here now because you can easily make IP and you can practically turn IP into Unicorn for a disruption, or you can turn IP and Equimax into an Avermax, which is just pretty bonkers in its sense, but this right here is actually not too bad. And then this right here adds a little bit more utility out of the extra Chaos Spaces that you have, because if you happen to open 2 Chaos Spaces, you make the IP play with Equimax, you know, Equimax negate, then IP turn one of the random cards you end on into Unicorn. Unicorn pitches the Chaos Space, then following turn can banish and get you a draw. So it's pretty good. But IP is really, really good because it just gives us that extra form of interruption that we lose with the Guard Dragons that allow us to get like push or anything. But consistently, guys, we can push for 3 interruptions, which is super powerful. For moving on, we play 1 Rafflesia, 1 Dugaris, and 1 Abyss Dweller. And not much can be said. These two are just engine requirements. This right here could be cut, and I think as I'm making this video, I think I counted right. This card actually needs to be cut. So like it's just these 2, because I think that this, let's see here, because I think Unicorn was my 16th card. So it's just these 2. If you don't want to play the IP Masquerade, I highly recommend playing Douglas the Timeless here. He's just really good, really solid, but space has to be cut for the engine requirements. So Abyss Dweller and Rafflesia are just 2 solid floodgates. This right here beats the rock. This right here is just a solid floodgate to end on when going first. Savage and Dawn Dragster. So Savage is in here now. I was playing the Berserker, but now Savage. Huge shout out to Duelist of the Rogue, by the way. They sent me this, and I'm sending them some of my things as well, so huge shout out to them. But you play, the Rokket Tracer is just a 1-card Savage, and you know, it's a big, huge beater. There's a reason it exists in the format is because of how good it is, so yeah. There we go. So that is it for the deck profile, guys. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, get your breeze before Ein says Playmat today while quantities last. This has been Charles from Team COG, signing out.